Just a quick update before we dive in. Do you want to build your confidence and grow a business that truly supports you and not just the families you serve? Then I made something just for you. The Birth Workers Business Mindset Toolkit is totally free and your ticket to help you shift your mindset, which is the number one thing you need to do to build your business successfully. You can grab it now at the link in the show notes, and I hope it gives you the little boost you didn't even know you needed. Right, let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the podcast and Happy New Year. This episode feels a little different to record because it's not a how-to, it's not a strategy breakdown, not even really looking at mindset, and it's definitely not a highlight reel. It's just a bit of a chance to pause and to reflect on last year. So as we move into this new year, there's often this pressure to rush straight into goals and plans and intentions and big energy without actually stopping to acknowledge what the last year really held. And 2025 held a lot for me. Some really, really lovely moments, one very big low light, and a whole lot of life in between. So in this episode, I want to reflect honestly on the year that I've had, the good, the hard, what surprised me, what challenged me, and I'll share what I've learned along the way. So hopefully that you will get some benefit from as well. So I don't want to look at this from a way of thinking that I have it all figured out, but from a place of integration, of integrating the last year into this year, of noticing patterns, of listening a bit more closely to myself. I'll also talk about what I'm carrying forward into 2026, some of it being less doing and more just being, and a much deeper focus on connection with myself, with others, and with the work I do in the world. So if you are feeling a little bit tired, a little bit reflective, or like you don't quite want to rush headfirst into the new year, this episode is probably for you. There is no pressure here. It's just a space to take stock and maybe see your own year a little bit more clearly too. And we've done a lot of reflection in Your Birth Biz membership this year. We started it in December. We're bringing it into January now. And that can be really helpful to take that time to reflect before we start goal planning. So I want to share this journey with you. So let's get into it. So I want to start with some of the things that worked or what nourished me or went really well. At the start of 2025, the end of 2024, one of the personal goals I had for myself was to spend more time with people that I care about. And the main way I wanted to do that was through travel and spending quality time with people. And thankfully, I got to do a lot of that in 2025. So in January, I went to Tenerife with one of my best friends. And it was the first time I've ever done Winter Sun. And I really, really loved it. And we just got to spend, I think we spent like 4 days just sitting around the pool, chatting, yapping, eating, going on walks, having a few drinks, just really, really enjoying some really, really clear downtime. So that was really, really lovely. And then I also got to spend some time away with my sisters, my mum, and my sister-in-law, and our 2 adult nieces. So we got to spend a few days in Spain in the spring. And that was also another lovely trip where we really got to just come together as the women in the family and have that downtime again. Now, I know I'm very privileged to be able to do all of these things, so I do want to acknowledge that. And trips don't have to be the way we did them. It is much more about getting to spend that time together. We also had some lovely family holidays. So we spent 2 weeks in Ibiza, in an all-inclusive kind of family sort of place that we've gone to a couple of times. So we got to spend lots of time with kids and with each other. And we had our annual Cassidy family holiday. So that is where me and my family and all of our kids go together away for a week, and we spent some time. So we went to the west of Ireland this year. We were in County Clare, in like the middle of nowhere. And that was lovely for like the kids to get to spend time with their cousins. And then we went camping for a couple of days with my friends and one of our kids. Well, when I say camping, we stay in like a lodge kind of thing, not like a tent. So we went camping for a couple of days, and that was really nice. And then me and Alan got to spend a few nights away just in different places in Ireland as well. So that was one of the things I set for myself in 2025 and I was really glad that I was able to do that. Another couple of other things that I really enjoyed in 2025 on a personal level were some of the creative things to do. So I did a painting workshop where we painted the chimney towers in Dublin, and I did a pop painting workshop, which was really enjoyable as well. I did a wreath making workshop, and I did that choir thing just last week. So we went and did this casual choir. So it was really nice to be able to reconnect a little bit with my own creativity, because when I was a kid, I used to paint and draw all the time, but I really don't do a lot of that anymore. So it was really nice to be able to do that. And they were with family or friends as well. So it was just really about spending that time with people and actually living life. And so not just working, not just focusing on business, but being able to live life as well. From the business side as well, I was trying to do a lot of that too. So I attended a lot of in-person networking events and really tried to get into it this year, because while I talk about the benefits of networking quite a lot, I am like a really, really shy person. I am a major introvert, and I do find those events quite difficult. But I have now a little group that we go to one of the particular events with, and I'm getting to know them a lot better. And also I am trying to reach out and get to know other people a little bit more as well. But I have been enjoying pushing myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. And in relation to the Pregnancy Postnatal Entrepreneurs Collective, but the big highlight of this year for me was launching the Your Birth Biz membership, because when I started, when I created the collective, the my original idea was to have a membership. So the original thing I wanted to do was to have a membership, but I felt that there was a lot of work I needed to do beforehand to get my name out there, I suppose. So being able to launch the Your Birth Biz membership this year was absolutely amazing, and we had some amazing free events, and the Birth Biz boot camp was brilliant. There was just so much energy at the Birth Biz boot camp, and just really being able to kind of build that visibility and be able to serve people as well. So being able to serve people with the free events and being able to serve people with podcasts, and being able to really connect with the Your Birth Biz members on a really deep level, because we have that ongoing support. So that has been absolutely wonderful. And then on a personal growth level, what has been the main thing for me, I suppose, this year has been getting physically stronger. So I am working with fitness and nutrition coach Louise from Badass Coaching. I talk about it a lot on my socials. So if you're on my socials, you'll know that I'm doing that. But being physically strong as I'm like coming into my mid-40s is something that's really, really important to me, in that I want to maintain my mobility as I get older. And I want to feel strong. I want to feel like I can look after myself. And that has been really important for me this year. So the last personal thing, I suppose, for me that was a positive is that we finally got our house build started. So we've been living in a house for maybe 11 years. From the minute we moved in, it needed work, but we did some kind of cosmetic stuff, like we'd done like painting and tiles and different things like that. But really the whole kitchen needs to be done, and the boys are getting bigger and they needed more space. So we really needed an extra bedroom as well. So we got that building work started in the start of August. So we've been out of our house now for 5.5 months. So that has been challenging. I mean, getting the build started is fabulous, but being out of the house has been challenging. So when you're reflecting on your own year, think about the moments that mattered to you. So it doesn't have to just be achievements, just all of those moments that matter to you, like that I've just discussed there. And think about why they mattered, what was important about them for you, and how they made you feel rather than what they looked like. So that can be a nice way to kind of reflect on the positives of the year. Now, I can't talk about 2025 without talking about the really one big low light, I suppose. So my husband, Alan, had a major accident in May. He was cycling through the city and he was hit by a Land Rover and seriously injured. And getting that phone call from him from the hospital was it was scary, but I'm quite good in a crisis. I used to work in social care. I used to work in homeless services. I'm trained in crisis management. I'm quite good in a crisis, so I kick into very much the doing phase when that happens. sorting everything out, getting the kids sorted, getting it to see and bringing in everything that needed to be brought in, speaking to the doctors. But obviously, something like that is a major disruption in your emotional life, but also in my work life. So everything had to pause, everything had to stop. I needed to take some time away from both businesses. It was scary. As I mentioned, Alan was in hospital for almost a week. Multiple broken ribs, punctured lung, broken clavicle. So it was important for me to be able to kind of slow down and take a pause and do what I needed to do, which meant not taking in any income during that period of time. Having built a little bit of a buffer zone, I was able to handle that little gap in income generation, and also having a wonderful network of other birth and postpartum workers who I rely on as both emotional support, a clinical support, and when things like this happen. So I had a couple of clients booked in that I needed to cancel, but I was able to get them set up with somebody else so that they weren't stressing about getting someone else to look after them. But when these things happen, they give you a reminder of kind of what actually matters. So, working on my business is really, really important for me, but ultimately it's pointless if life isn't the most important thing. So if family isn't the most important thing. So when life happens and business has to stop or slow down, then I need to be able to handle that and I need to be able to manage it. And I'm happy that I was able to do that again this year. Unfortunately, this is the third year in a row where we've had some sort of trauma that has stopped my business for a couple of weeks. So hopefully 2026, we won't have anything like that. Please, 2026, don't give me any more big bumps in the road this year. And then when we've got the really, really highlights, we've got that particular low light, but there's been other things that have been challenging for me throughout the year. And I'm sure some of these will resonate with all of you as well. And one of the big things has genuinely and honestly been that the business not growing the way that I hoped to, the collective business. And I really felt that 2025 was going to be a great year for the collective. Like I said, if I'm really honest, it just wasn't. I'm loving working with the membership clients, but it just really didn't go the way I expected this year. But I have a really clear understanding of why that happened. So when I've done my big reflection exercises, and I've been doing this reflection probably for the past 3 months, this isn't a one and done type thing for me. And one of the biggest things is that I know I've been being pulled in too many directions, that I have genuinely have too much going on, and I can't, or I haven't been able to until now, to give the attention to the business to help it grow. When I'm serving my clients, when I'm serving my coaching clients, they are being served. But I haven't been able to give this business the attention that it needs to grow in the way that I want to. And I felt a lot of the time as well that I was just doing and putting out more content and doing more and hustling more, but feeling a lot less connected to those bits of the work I was doing. Like I said, when I'm working directly with clients, it's completely different. I feel fully immersed, fully connected. But in the building the business end of it, I really, when I look back on it now, I can see how disconnected I was from it, from my own mind, from my own intuition. And because I was so in the doing and not giving myself enough time or enough space to think things through and to really feel into the work that I wanted to do or the content that I wanted to create. And I'm really glad that I've noticed it. So I'm really glad that I've figured it out, because I don't want that to come into 2026 with me. And I think part of it has been this reliance on using AI for some things. And while I write all of my content myself, I had been using ChatGPT in particular to help with lots of ideas and to help kind of format things. And I think I was overusing it. So what I've come to understand about myself is that when I'm not using my brain, so what I'm letting ChatGPT do the thinking for me, rather, even though I've trained it quite well and knows me quite well, I was like outsourcing my brain power to it rather than the the manual labor, whereas I feel I should have outsourced the manual labor to it rather than the thinking work. So I'm definitely feeling way more into connecting with myself, connecting with my own mind, and not needing this constant output as much. It just got too much like hustle, which isn't what it's just really not what I promote my clients at all. And the way I was working wasn't congruent with my own values. And I'm ready to kind of move away from that now. Now, I think probably part of it was that drama, what happened with Alan, and then then there's this big delay, and I have to get things done quicker. So I think it probably came from like a nervous system reaction, a fight or flight sort of thing. But I stayed up there. I stayed in this fight or flight, and it was like fight or flight, hustle, 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 get it done, get it done, get it done, get it done, get it done. And that didn't serve me well. And I don't think it served my business well either. And it certainly didn't serve me as a human being well. So in all of that, there has been so much learning. One of the things that really came up for me as I was reflecting on this is that I did really good work on reconnecting with my body. So through my strength training, through understanding how my body works, through nourishing it, through building my strength. But I had lost this connection with my mind, with my inner self. Because with the constantly being on, the constantly doing, that's not the same as being present, as being here right now, and really to be with myself and to be with other people. So what I've really learned is that doing doesn't necessarily equal serving. So just because I'm putting out loads of helpful content, if it's not really connected with me, if it's not really congruent with my being, that I'm probably not serving all of you that well in the content that I've been creating. And also that output, so just consistent output, isn't creating connections, and connections has always been what I've always been about. And so that has been a huge learning point for this year, is, that I need to be doing less and being more. So I want to not be focusing on output, but instead be focusing on service and connection. And I see this in lots of art workers as well, who are caught up in the churn, and wanting to consistently output without having a strategy behind it. So it's not even benefiting them from a strategy point of view, or it feels like that hyper nervous system rather than someone whose nervous system is settled. Being visible, it might grow your account, but this constant output can grow your account. My account has grown huge this year. But when it's just visibility but without connection, you don't really get anything from it for yourself, like as in from yourself as a human being, or from your business. And that eventually really catches up on you. And I really felt that at the end of this year for myself, that had happened. And when everything that I teach and everything that I'm about is around kind of doing our business ethically and sustainably for ourselves, so that it's something that we can keep up. It's something that doesn't overwhelm us. And when we're focused on output, because our nervous system is dysregulated, then that's not really helping. So it's really important to kind of make sure that we have a settled nervous system when we are thinking strategy, when we are making decisions. So I'm going to feel a lot more now into myself, into my body and my mind, and take more time to think things through rather than just getting it done. I felt a lot when I think about it last year that a lot of what I was doing was just getting it done rather than really feeling into it and being really connected with what I was doing. So my intentions for this year is to focus on connection. So my phrase for the year is connection is key. And this is what I'm hoping will keep me really, really grounded throughout this year. When I'm talking about connection, I'm talking about connection with myself, connection with others, and connection like others as friends and family, and connection through work and clients as well. For myself, one of the things that I've done is I have a real big interest in Irish folklore and Celtic traditions and pagan traditions in particular, so pre-Christianity traditions, and being connected with nature and being connected with the land and being connected with the universe. So I'm taking time to do a little bit of learning on some of those rituals. And I also got this moon journal. So it tells you about the different phases of the moon and the different energies that can be around. And I'm really just kind of using it as a place to pause and reconnect with myself, with my mind and my spirit. I'm going to continue connecting with my body through working on my strength training, and I'm also, it's really important for me now to give myself some space to think, because I also fill all the gaps with noise. So I find it really difficult to not be constantly entertained. So like if I'm on a walk, I'm listening to a podcast. If I'm making a dinner, I'm watching a webinar. If I'm cleaning, I'm probably listening to a podcast on learning things usually. So I want to take a bit more time to just allow my own brain to think, I suppose, to see where it goes, see what happens with it. So things like maybe just not putting the radio on when I'm driving the car or going for a walk without listening to audios. I might still have music in the background because I do find it hard not to get distracted. But just giving myself a bit more space to think. And so that's connection with myself. And then for connection with others, I want to make sure that I am maintaining and deepening the relationships with the people already in my life. So obviously with my husband, with my boys, with my friends, with my family. So really leaning into, again, spending time with people and prioritizing time with them. Quite often one of my resolutions for a year is to say no. So don't be, say no to things that you don't want to do. But one of my things for this year is to say yes. So to say yes when someone says, do you want to do this thing? Because quite often I think, oh God, I'm too busy. Just going on. Oh no, I can't really fit that in. Maybe this other time I'll say, let's reschedule it for this other time. So one of the things I'm going to try this year is a bit more saying yes to things that are connecting with other people. So social sort of things or spending time together. Because I forgot to mention Lapland. So I went to Lapland in December with Alan and the boys, and we hadn't planned on going to Lapland. And my husband got some money that was unexpected and just like sent me a text message saying, do you want to go to Lapland? I was like, what? Like, no. And like in a few days. So I was like, no, like it's too much to think about. What will the boys eat? What will they wear? They only wear shorts and t-shirts. So how are they going to wear the snow gear? What are we going to do? How will it work? Will we be too cold? Will we be hungry? Will we manage? Will everybody be upset? How am I going to manage work? I've got things scheduled for that week. And so my brain was saying, say no. You don't have to do this. You can go another time. Too short notice, to everything. I had a chat with my friends and they said, no, say yes. Say yes, just go. It'll be okay. Just go. So we did. We did go. And it was brilliant. And I'm so glad that I said yes. So I'm leaning into saying yes more this year for that reason, because we would have missed out on that amazing trip. And no one would have known how amazing it was going to be, but we would have missed it because I would have been too anxious or nervous about saying yes. For all the reasons why I should say no. So I'm leaning more into saying yes this year, and deepening my connections with people who are in my life. And also I want to really lean into building more meaningful interactions with all of you, with the listeners, with my followers, the online communities that I'm in, and in the networking spaces that I'm attached to. When I'm on social media and stuff, I want to be using it to connect with people, to actually interact with people, and to remind myself that social media is supposed to be social. Number one, create less content myself, but number two, consume less content as well. So I want to spend more of the time that I am online in interactions rather than just creating or consuming. And then in the networking as well, I want to try and lean into that a little bit more, where I will be expanding my network, expanding the people that I get to meet, and not just either sticking to myself or sticking to the small group of people that I already know. And I really want to open that up a little bit, because I really feel that being connected with other business owners is really, really important. And it really does help you grow. It helps you develop yourself, helps you develop your business. And they can become referral pathways as well, which is always good. So I'm going to be less frantic content, more purposeful, less curated as well, fewer posts, more presence, and remembering that my content is a service to people and not an obligation, that I don't owe it to anybody to create content. I don't owe it to myself, I don't owe it to business, I don't owe it to any of you even. The content that I create is of service because I want to do it. And a huge part of that is going to be focusing more than ever on the podcast, on the show, because I really feel that this is my long form content, that this is how I can create space for real depth and space for real conversations. And I'm leaning way more into long form content as well, as in I'm really enjoying longer podcasts. I'm really enjoying that type of content rather than the short, snappy social media type of content. So I'm really looking forward to, I'm going to bring a lot of clients on who are going to talk about, their stories of building their businesses. I'm going to be bringing group conversations where as birth workers will come together and talk about marketing or visibility or mindset and different things like that. And I'll be bringing on lots of new guests as well to talk about different topics. Maybe some guests that I've had before, because there are a lot of people who I'd love to revisit that, we talk about one part, but there's so much more to talk about it as well. Because I really feel that the podcast is the best way I can serve people who are not ready to commit to either the membership or the Nest program or to one-to-one coaching. So if someone doesn't have the finances for that, I want to be able to help you anyway. So the podcast is the way I'm planning on focusing on that. So they are some of my highlights, some of my lowlights, a lot of my lessons learned, and what I'm taking into 2026. The main things that I'm bringing forward into 2026 is less hustle, more connection, more service, and really just more fun and enjoyment. So thank you very much for listening to this episode. I hope you have found it helpful. I'd really love if this has sparked anything in you, that you share it with me, that you let me know. As hearing what people think after listening to the podcast episodes is really helpful, and really, it gives me a boost for future episodes and to want to keep going as well. But I also just really love hearing about what's resonating for you, and maybe what your year was like. What did your year hold? What were your lessons? And what were your highlights? What were your challenges? And I'd love to hear, what are you bringing into 2026? So feel free to DM me on Instagram or pop me a little email. I'd love to hear from you. So again, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being here. And here's to the best 2026 for everyone. Bye.